Well, hello everyone. So we're outside, it's wet, raining and miserable, so I'm in the potting shed. Here I am in the potting shed, unable to do any work outside or even down the allotment, which is really annoying. So I thought I'm going to sow some seeds today. So I am sowing 3 different types of seeds: some red barren onions and 2 types of chilies, hot scotch and sparkler. So I'm going to sow those on quickly. Coming up, I've got a bit of an update to Project Quail for those of you that have been following that. I know some people have been really interested in seeing how they work out, so keep watching for that. And then I'm just going to take you on a quick tour of this potting shed, just to show you how I've set it up and what have you. So we'll put those 2 clips up now and then we'll come back. Here's the quails, both of them looking very, very happy, healthy. I still want to give them more room as soon as the weather gets decent enough for them, of course. And I'm going to be getting a few more females around the end of March, just so she's not so attacked or overworked, shall we say. Anyway, what I'm really pleased about, I've looked in here today, just open this up, and that, my first quail egg. Very, very, very pleased, to say the least. Let's get out in the view for you. I'm going to be cleaning these out in a bit, so I was just checking on them before I do that. So very, very happy with that. So this is my potting shed from the outside. I've never actually measured it, but I'd say it's 8 foot long by about 4 foot wide. As you can see, the bottom, this side around here, and the back is all corrugated iron, and the rest is this perspex window, which doubles up as a greenhouse. But we'll take you on the inside. Now, obviously we've got the quail down there, and I've just done a video about that, so won't go too much into them. They will be outside. They will actually live just here eventually when I build that next one, because it is a greenhouse, and it's also in the vegetable patch, so it's where I do most of my work. So I tend to keep the tools that I use most often just hanging just inside. So gloves, brush, spade, fork, hoe, pitchfork, rake, all there hanging up, so it's nice and easy to get to. I should say this greenhouse, or a potting shed as I call it, was here when I moved into this house. So I didn't build it, I won't take credit for it, but what I have noticed is it stays very, very warm throughout the winter, which is another reason I quite like it. And part of that is because, one, it's got corrugated iron on the back, so the sun's coming through all day long, warming up the iron, and that's keeping that warm throughout the night. If that was glass on the back, the heat is just lost, which is, I feel, the failure of most greenhouses. That is kind of to the north, so solar aspect is about right. Most greenhouses, being glass all round, I believe they lose weight through the back. But as I said, because it stays warm, let's have a look at these. See, I've got these tomato plants were planted last year, and what I really want to show you, I'm rather pleased about, see that starting to colour up. It's a tomato. In January I'm getting the tomatoes. There's more there. There's another little one. Let's see if I can get it. Just there, and I think there's one more just down there. In January, and I'm getting tomatoes. Admittedly, yes, the plants aren't the most best looking, but I think that's pretty good actually. I've also got up here aubergines that were planted last year as well, and they've grown right throughout the winter. Those leaves are a bit buggered, but they're still holding in there, still growing, so I can't really complain about that. So we've got a shelf, that's it, just there. That's where I pop plants on as they grow, as part of the growing system I've set up. I'm also using the top of a quail cage to grow some other plants. I mean, I've got Moroccan mint down the back there, and when I cut the rosemary I took some cuttings. I know Brian from Allotment Life spotted these, so I've got those in there and they'll grow on. And obviously I've just got a few bits and pieces that I need. It's a bit of a mess in here because, well, it's that time of year. These chilli plants towards the back are overwintering. We'll see if they go. They'll come back. If they don't, it's not the end of the world. And in here, I've been testing microgreens. These are rocket microgreens, which are grown really, really well. They'll be ready to eat, really. I'll probably use them in sandwiches and stuff. The coriander here didn't really grow, so not too worried by that, but we'll try again. I'm trying to do more microgreens, really. Oh, actually, let's start back here, because I added last week. I actually built this shelving system, electrical system at the back here. So I painted magnolia. Wanted it to be white, but I didn't have any white paint, and I'm not going to go out and buy white paint just for that. So I had magnolia. So I painted just that's again to reflect the light. I've added power sockets up here. These two are double sockets that are permanently live, which feed my free propagators and the light. I'll come to the light in a second. I've got a timer there that feeds that socket, which I've got a grow light just there, kind of for the quail and just to extend the daylight hours. It's not really grow lights you should have them right up against the plants, but I'm not bothered with that too much, but it does illuminate this quite well. And I'm adding another one in when I get the chance. The light I said I got there, I've got a remote control for it, so we can change the colour on it. I know it's a bit of fun. I've got to sort the wiring, tidy the wiring up there, and the cables and stuff. But yeah, it's a bit of fun. But it's got a speaker built in, so I can listen to podcasts while I'm working in here. And the propagators, I've got this up here. That's the ones that onions, Elisa Craig, that was sown in Boxing Day. So they're going to need moving on soon, pricking out. I've got some more onions in there that were sown a couple of weeks ago, so they're getting ready. And here, this is where I start them off as seeds. They go into here. I've got tomato and basils in those two that were sown last week. Tomato, it looks like it's just starting to show something. And then we've got the 4 here that I'm doing at the start of this video. But I start them off in here. And then when they start to germinate, they move up to that one. This one down here has a vent closed. That one has a vent open, so that just lets them breathe a bit more. And then after a while, they go to there. That just provides a bit of bottom heat with decent ventilation. Now below here, that's my stack of root trainers that I'll be using. But this is where I do all my potting on and stuff. This little bench here. I've got to modify that in the future, but that's pretty good. I might get a smaller one of these because it takes up a lot of space in the small room. And then down here I've got an old freezer, and that old freezer is where I store all my seeds all year round. Constant temperature, so it remains pretty good. Doesn't let rodents in and stuff, so if you're wanting to keep seeds in a shed, get an old fridge or freezer. It works. And then got a bag of seed and sowing compost there. I did use bins last year for seed and sowing, and then, or John Innes number 1, then John Innes number 2 sort of thing. But with the quail cage, it was a bit difficult to fit them in, so we'll worry about come up with a different system for that later. Down there I've got a bit of space, but I'm thinking on that. So yeah, there we go. That is all my little updates taken care of. Now, very happy with finally getting eggs from the quail. I was expecting them a bit later on in the year, not quite this time, but I'm not complaining nonetheless. I'm still sowing seeds in case you haven't guessed, that's why I'm looking down. But yeah, very, very happy to be getting quail's eggs, or a quail's egg, I should say. I'm sure there'll be more to come. Unfortunately, with only having one female, I'm not expecting more than 1 egg a day. But that will change once we get either more females and we can start breeding them to increase our load. The reason I want more than 1 female is quails, when there's only 1 female and 1 male, the male will obviously get a bit heavy-handed with the female. So for that reason, I'm going to be getting more female. And then yeah, there's this little potting shed. It is pretty small, but it does the job really well. Pleased with the tomatoes over there and the aubergines that have overwintered. It just shows how, I think, putting a bit of thought into how things are set up and grown with greenhouses. In many ways, the design of a greenhouse is not the most efficient. Bit of forethought, we can often rethink better ways of designing it. But what I didn't mention, the shelves that I've set up on this wall behind the potting shed area, on that bit of magnolia board, those shelves are actually adjustable very easily with the shelf brackets I got, which just makes life, I think, easier, because there's nothing more annoying than putting a shelf up and thinking it's in the wrong place, it needs to go higher or lower. So I found using these brackets just makes the adjustment that bit easier. A couple of weeks time, on February the 4th, I'm actually heading down to Seedy Sunday in Brighton, not far from me. What I was wondering is, anybody else going who watches this channel, if you're interested, we could perhaps do a bit of a meetup or something. I'll be there all day, and I think a good chance to get a bit of a social into all this gardening and stuff we do here on YouTube. So if anybody is there, please get in touch and we'll sort something out, even if it's just meeting up for a bite to eat or lunch or something. Let me know in the comments below. And my final thing, now my last video that came out on Saturday, the YouTuber shout out, a really good response with that, which I'm pleased about. It's made me really pleased to see how well we've all worked together to I guess beat YouTube at their own game, as well at the same time working within YouTube's rules that they've set out. What I'm going to be doing is not this week anyway, but each week on my YouTube, I do on my podcasts as well. If you tune into the podcasts, you find them on iTunes and most other podcast apps. I'll have a YouTuber of the week. There are certain criteria that I'm setting out for this. First of all is your videos need to be uploaded regularly. I mean, when I say regularly, I don't mean each week or each month, or consistently is probably a better word. What I don't want is somebody puts a YouTuber puts a video up and then 3 months later puts another one up, and then 4 months later puts that's not going to qualify. If it's, you know, at least once a month will do. I will give you a mention one week. I've got to be aware of your YouTube channel, so the only way I can think of doing that is by putting comments on my videos that demonstrate that you've watched my videos and you've taken part in it. So that if that is of interest to you, keep commenting, keep uploading your videos, subscribe and all that, and we'll boost this up. So that's it for this video for this week. But with the weather, it's a bit pants, so not a huge amount I can really do, but never mind. If you've liked this video, give us a like. If you haven't subscribed, please subscribe, really important at the moment. And if you've got any comments, suggestions or anything, let us know down below. So I'm really pleased with the quail, and I know some of you out there are watching the quails, to see if you can mark it in your own garden. So until next time, please take care, and I'll see you again then.